Okay, good evening. It's about 7:02 Friday night, February the 11th, and at 7:02 Central Standard Time. If you're in Eastern Time Zone, it's 8 something. Well, my name is Richard Wright. As you can see, I'm your professor for the next 5.5 weeks and business law. I actually, at this time, am a professor in the School of Justice Studies. So why are you teaching business law? The reason why I'm teaching business law is because of the fact that I'm a lawyer. I'm a retired lawyer. And I worked in the areas of contracts, real estate, commercial, residential. I represented major corporations like McDonald's. I personally knew Ray Kroc. I worked with Allstate. Worked with a lot of major companies in a big law firm that doesn't exist now called Sonnenschein, Carlin, Nathan, Rosenthal. And I represented athletes. So I drafted their contracts or reviewed their contracts, negotiated contracts. Primarily it was in baseball. And they were with the White Sox because those are my guys. And so I'm going to be here to help you guys uh, through this navigation. Be aware of one thing about this course, the way it's set up. And this is the third time I'm teaching it under this setup. I've been teaching at Rasmussen since 2011. And when I came in, I was teaching business law as an adjunct back October 2011. But this is a survey course. Do not expect um, me to teach you as if you're a lawyer. I'm going to teach you some principles and concepts. I'm going to answer questions, but the way that you learn this stuff is through research. I point you in a direction. I have a few ideas to help you understand contracts and when contracts should be in writing and not. We'll get into that next week because that's when it kicks in a lecture. But we'll be talking about various issues, and our primary focus will be contracts, that various types of contracts, when contracts must be in writing to be enforceable. And we'll talk about some business entities. I've set up corporations, uh, partnerships, all those things as a lawyer. I am 71. People look at me and they don't think I'm that old, but I am, and graduated from Northwestern University. If you look at my profile, you will see it in your student lounge. You'll see my background and you'll see half of my family. So I just wanted to let you know a little bit about me. I am a professor that likes to laugh. Uh, I like to have my students to laugh and enjoy because this stuff is very dry. It's esoteric, trust me. Um, as as contracts have evolved more into English now than they were when I first started practicing law in 1978, they were much different. And then technology didn't exist then and came in. So be ready for that. So here's what I am going to do to start. And I'm going to give you about 2 to 3 minutes each to introduce yourselves. Tell me a little bit about yourselves. And um, if you can, open up your, I'm going to open up your mics, and then I'm going to have you to say something about yourself. And if you have a camera, I'd like you to open it up for this occasion. One of you is on the phone, so you still might be able to open up your camera on your computer, but just let me know. And if you can't, then, but don't be shy, you know, this just be sure that we just want to let the students know each other who's in their class. So let me start with, first let me try to see if Jenna, um, I know you can hear. I'm going to open up your mic and take it off. So you take about 2 minutes. Let's see. I'm okay. Unmute, Jenna. You unmute. Your mic's still
Hello?
mute. Okay, now I hear
Did
you.
it work?
I hear you.
Hi.
Do you have a camera?
No, my camera doesn't work on my computer.
But your dog is, right?
Yep. Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. What kind of dog is that back there?
It's a Saint Bernard mix.
Oh, wow. It's a big boy, huh? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Two of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I know about dog, as I call them, dogs. Yeah. I have a golden doodle. You know what
Oh,
that
yep.
is?
Yep, I
Yeah.
do.
He's only a year and a half, and here he is right here. Um, you see him?
Oh, fun. Yeah, he's big too.
That's Milky Way, and that's my
How cute.
daughter. That's her dog. But yeah, Milky is he's a big baby though. But dogs are good. So he'll make an
Yep.
appearance probably before the course is over to say hi to everybody. So
Awesome.
so anyway, so Jenna, tell me where you're from. Tell me where you are now, and what your plans are in the future, and why you want to take this class. Okay.
I'm from White Bear Lake, Minnesota, which is about 20 minutes outside of the city. I live in North St. Paul currently, so about the same area, no more than 10 minutes away. And I'm looking to get into OSHA type of work, like risk management.
hmm Occupational and Health Administration.
Yep.
I got you. And okay, is that Hennepin County where you are? Is that still Hennepin County?
Ramsey.
Oh, okay. All right. Right. Because my family is up there. They're in
Okay.
Minneapolis, Hennepin County, which is the biggest county.
Yep.
There.
Say about
Yes.
30.
So, okay, very good. Is this your first um, quarter at Rasmussen?
This is my third.
Oh, good. Okay, then that helps me because then you understand some of the processes about how the systems work here. Then, okay.
Yep.
All right. All right. Well, anything else you want to share at this point? Because you're 2 minutes.
Nope. That'll do it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jenna. Welcome to class. I
Thank you.
hope to see you every class, which will be from this point on Wednesday as opposed to Friday. Um, just for everybody's knowledge, the reason why it's Friday is because we started class on Wednesday, and I had a lecture in another class on Wednesday. I had one on Thursday, and so I had to do this one today, and then because of the shortened week, and so we will get back to normal schedule starting in term two. But this is not, if some people should realize this is a 5.5 week class. So we're doing the point 0.5 right now at the beginning, and then we'll have 5 weeks after that. So, okay, well, welcome to class, Jenna. So I'm going to um, mute your mic. It looks like you're already muted. Let's go down. How about Muhammad? Muhammad, let me hit you and unmute you. Okay, I'm trying to unmute you. Yeah, I sent it. Okay. Can you hear me? Can you speak? Oh, okay. Okay. You can't talk. Okay. I have a lot of students that do that. Okay. So, all right. What I will do is just I won't have you um, to do this today. Maybe another time we'll have you do it because I always like to know what the goals are with my students. I don't want you to start typing and typing and typing. but you're from Minneapolis. Okay, we got two Minneapolis people. I mean, Minnesota people, probably two Viking people, right? But I, I I know about Minneapolis a lot. Okay, so we'll skip over Muhammad. All right, so Shannon, let me put you. Okay, Shannon,
Hey there, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Do you
Hi.
have a do you have a do you have a camera?
I do, but I'm at work and I work in a facility where we can't have cameras.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then I don't want you to get fired on your first class. So,
No.
so tell us, you heard what I was saying. Muhammad, I saw you. I saw you for a minute there. He made an appearance. He couldn't talk, but he showed me his face. But Shannon, tell me some of the things that we've been talking about here.
So I'm originally from Massachusetts. I'm residing in Florida now almost 9 years. I've been with Rasmussen going on a year in April, going to graduate in March. I am in management already, so I wanted to advance my career by joining and getting my degree in business.
Okay. I definitely could. When you said Massachusetts, and
Yes.
when you said March, you said it.
Yeah.
As soon as you said that, that gave it away. I, I, um, I, I'm a big fan of the Kennedys. I grew up as a kid. I met John F. Kennedy when I was a kid when he was
Wow.
when he was running for president. So
Mhm.
I'm that old. I said you heard me say 71. So it was in around 61 or something like that. It was a long time ago, and I shook his hand, and he was
Wow.
still running. He was running for president then, and but I've always been intrigued by Boston.
Yeah.
It's all. I got a student right now who is in my criminal justice class. She graduated, but she's I do some stuff with her on an advisory board for domestic violence, and she always says, Professor Wright. I said yes, and then I said, say Boston for me. She said Boston. I said, she said, you tease. I said, I think it's just like that. And my New Yorker's got a different, and it's a different accent if you're in New York
It
or
is. Yep.
Massachusetts. It's a totally different, but it's still a kind of an accent. That's cool. Well, welcome to class.
Thank you.
And I'm not mad at you because you're in a warm climate. I'm just I'm glad I'm not down there because they got a lot more COVID than I want to know about down there. I got family down there, and they got something else that
Mhm.
before that I never wanted to go, and it has nothing to do with the teams, the Hurricanes and the Gators. Those are teams. Florida called the Gators, and University of
Yep.
Miami are called the Hurricanes.
Yep.
It's the real stuff that I'm talking about. I was looking at something on Facebook. A lady was saying she came out to get the paper, and the gator was just walking along like he was a neighbor or owned it. And they were saying, "Oh, there, what are you going to do if you see that?" I wrote, "Move and run." No, now what part of Florida did you say?
Tampa. Tampa Bay.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I know about Tampa. Yeah, I was in that area. We have a campus that used to be called Tampa Braden, but they changed it now because of they reconfigured it because you're near Newport Richie. You know where that
Mhm.
is,
Yep.
and yeah. So, but well, welcome to class. I know that for you it's 8:15,
Mhm.
and so I always remind my students I used to do classes 8:30 Central, but then that was 9:30, and then I said to help my East Coast students, I moved them up to 7 o'clock p.m. So, well,
Oh,
anyway,
thank you.
so hang in there. You're gonna learn. You're gonna learn a lot. I know a whole bunch about contracts. I mean, inside out, sleeping with it, so that kind of stuff. Um, all right. So I'm going to now move on. I'm going to mute you. All right. And then I don't know what S planes is. But whoever S Planes is, I just unmuted you.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Oh, that was you that popped up.
Yeah, that might have been me playing with my
Oh,
settings.
oh,
It's
I
been a
thought it was
long time
I
since I
thought that
played
was
with these.
yeah, I thought it was Muhammad that
Uh-huh.
did that. Okay, that was you. Okay, and
Yeah.
what is S Planes?
Splain. So that's just my first initial. My name is Steve Splain. So
Steve SPL
Splain. Yeah,
S.
yeah. So
Okay.
it's SS. Yeah. So it's just my first name and then my last name, then my first initial there.
Oh, cause I live in Plainfield. I thought there was a
Ah.
play on words. Okay, Steve. So tell me about you.
Okay. So I'm another one from Minneapolis. Currently, I'm a production supervisor for a manufacturing factory. So I've
Mhm.
joined Rasmussen for the to advance my career in business management. So
How many years been here?
this will be going on my second year.
Oh, okay. So you're familiar with everything here.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Okay. Now, um, and so as far as your career is concerned, what's your ultimate goal to become?
Well, I think the next step obviously would be so we have production supervisors, then we have the production managers and production directors, right? So obviously, if I want to climb that ladder, uh, well, technically, I need this degree to have my current position, but they gave me the go ahead early. But part of the deal, of course, is that I finish this up.
Yeah.
But then take my boss's job and then take his boss's job. You know,
Oh,
that's the
okay.
goal.
Do they know that or?
Oh, I told him straight up. And
Okay, full disclosure, huh?
yep.
Okay, I like that one there. Okay, well, that's good. And are you from up there?
Yeah, yeah. I was raised here. I spent some time in Phoenix for about 6 years. I was out in the desert playing music and having fun, and then decided to buckle
Playing
down.
music? What kind of music?
It was mostly rock music, pop rock, some heavier stuff too. But yeah,
You, you know the name Prince Roger Nelson?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was a friend of our family's. My cousin
Wow.
graduated from Central with Prince. That was his full name, Prince Roger
Sure,
Nelson.
sure,
That's his, and uh, he was he was short in heels,
sure. Yeah.
and
No,
I
I
used to
always
go.
watch when I watch Purple Rain. I always think, what would it like to even just be walking down the street and encounter this person? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it'd be just like meeting a little kid because
Yeah,
he's so
yeah,
short. But he was so friendly. He had a sad spirit because of if you saw Purple Rain, then you know
yeah,
there's a lot of truth about his life in that movie. But he was a inward person, but very friendly. He loved
yeah.
people. I used to go to Paisley Park. My cousins
Oh wow.
were a part of. Matter of fact, one of my cousins was a member of one of his rock groups called Maserati.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
they're an older group, and he said he quit because Prince told him they had to wear tights. He said, "I'm not wearing."
Yep, some
Yeah,
people got to draw the line somewhere.
but they had to draw. They had to wear makeup and stuff. Like you heard
Sure.
know about Kiss, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm from Chicago, and we know all of them real well because I had one two-thirds of what's the name of the group now? They used to be they're Sticks.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
They went to high school with me. And
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So I
Wow, so you know everybody then.
yeah. Oh, well, I was in the music business as an attorney. I did some consultation with a lot of people. Michael Jackson. I did a lot of Motown people. One of my buddies was a former Temptation from
Wow.
Chicago. He sang and took over after Dennis Edwards left. But and then there's a group, the group up there, this gospel group Sounds of Blackness, headed by what's Dennis' last name? And he's a good friend of our families, but they sing all over the world as well. So I'd come up there and I'd hang out, but I promised I'd never come up in the winter. I
Uh-huh.
went one time
Most people make that promise. Yeah.
Nah, and then my greatest accomplishment is I straddled uh, the border of the Mississippi River.
Mm.
And people says, "What's that little bit of water?" I said, it's real small up here." You know what I'm talking about. You go up to all
Mm.
the way north, and it's there. But I used to come there and love to go to those different parks. You got lakes everywhere, and Lake with Minnetonka. That's one
Sure.
of the
Yeah.
most famous that Prince made famous.
Oh, sure.
But I used to hang out with Morris Day and the Time. They would be up there. Jimmy Jam,
Wow.
Jerome. Uh, I was. My cousin invited me to come hang out with them when Janet, they snuck her in town to do Control. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Um, you know, they're the guys, wear the sunglasses and they look
Mm.
like the Blues Brothers.
Mm.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. But oh, that's cool. Um, I'm a Bear
Well, maybe
fan.
we met too late then, because I could have used your
Yeah.
consultation at one point.
Yeah. I did. I mean, I did I met James, and I mean James Brown. He and I had the same birthday. He was a little older. But I had dinner with uh, a lot of musicians, lot of entertainers and sports people. Walter Payton was a good buddy of mine. My cousins were close to a lot of the Vikings players, and especially the I call them the Twinkies. But
Mm.
you're a Twins fan?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to be a Minnesota sports fan typically, but yeah, you got to represent them,
You know K Fan? You listen to K Fan?
Yeah, yeah, every now and then I listen to K-Fan.
I have a cousin who's his name is Walter Scott, but they have labeled him the Secretary of Insight. And he's on there doing commentary all the time. He goes to the games, they
That sounds
interview him.
familiar.
Well, he's the teacher, retired teacher. He's my first cousin, and
Wow.
yeah, he's always doing stuff there on KFan. Matter of fact, we were in the elevator and this lady almost mauled him when he was talking to me. He says, "You sound like the secretary." He says, "Yeah, I am." Oh my God, she grabbed him and hugged him. This is pre-COVID, but but yeah, but I like coming up there. I met the real Lone Ranger when I was a kid. He used to live up there, Jay Silverhills. I mean, not Jay Silverhills, that was Tonto. Clayton Moore, the original. Well, he was the original Lone Ranger on television, but he was an older man by the time I met him, and he auditioned for the job because General Mills is based up there.
General
Was
Mills,
based up.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and they had to audition for the position, and he got it, and he moved to California and did the Lone Ranger. So I've had my share of experiences. Tony Oliva used to have dinner with us. Harmon Killebrew was my uncle's buddy, drinking buddy,
Nice.
as a matter of
Oh,
fact.
yeah. Uh-huh.
So just Kirby Puckett, remember
Sure.
Kirby? He was from Chicago. He was a friend of ours. So anyway, welcome, and I will tell you. I'm going to try to take the subject that's pretty dry and see if I can keep you guys awake. That's why a lot of people don't turn on their cameras because they're
Mm.
asleep,
Mhm.
and they wake up and listen to the video. But okay, well, it was nice to talk to you. I'm gonna move on because we got a few things to cover. And so it's good to know my students. In this class, let's see, there are four of you here. And this is really different though, because in criminal justice where I teach, most of the time it's just the ladies who come to the lectures. So here, uh, we look like we got 2 and 2. So that's all right. So I'm the tiebreaker. So and, I'm from a family of 8 girls and me. That's it. But that's a whole nother discussion. 35 students. This is the one I have most students in. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into the material. Share it. I know you're all excited about it. You want to learn this stuff. Um, Today, I'm going to cover the material not as much. I'm just going to go over the systems. But since many of you have already been here a while, I can go really fast over the systems. So then we can get to the content of the foundations of business law. Okay, so anyway, we start out with in here, if you want to find messages. Now, let me tell you right now, this is, see, here's Kenneth Lovely, who is not here, but he responded to tell me he got my email that I sent out to you guys, welcoming you to class. And then I sent the PowerPoints out to you guys as well. They're in your emails. And I sent it to all class members. There they are. So what you do is just click on that, download it, and you can have it. Now, I don't teach off of PowerPoints because it's redundant, and besides, you already have that. I give them to you to help you study in terms of getting ready to understand the message. Here's the grade book. This is where I get put your grades in, and it tells me here the assignments. As I hover over this, I won't click on it because it'll show your names. It won't show grades because I haven't graded anything. Then all the way down here, your discussion post, your assignment, and live classroom, and it goes all the way down. Now, there's something that is very interesting about this, and I'm going to go all the way down so you can see it. And there it is. What is it that you thought you would see, but you don't see it? You can type in the chat box and I'll see it. What is it that you don't see in here that you thought you might see, and they used to, but they took it away? Anybody guess? No, no guesses. I go to the chat box. No. Midterm survey? No, that's further down. The letter grade? No, you wouldn't see that here anyway. How about assignment wise? How about tests, quizzes? There are none. This is a writing class. And so, because college is pretty much writing anyway, but it's a writing class, and discussion assignments, written assignments are written, and then your live lecture classroom requirement is, and you only have 2 assignments each week. Your live classroom lecture is an assignment, but you'll see it. That's it. And the discussion posts are so easy. So this is really not a lot of work. So the concepts and principles come primarily you're learning from. That's why the PowerPoints are for you for information. And then I'm going to supply some other things to help you out as well. And one tool I'm going to supply you with is something that I put together myself that I learned from when I took the bar exam, which was 44 years ago, but it's applicable because I had to deal with contracts on the bar exam. And so, but anyway, yeah, so you see that there are various topics, business liabilities, legal liabilities, contract recommendation, the federal laws that deal with business, partnership law and ethics. We'll talk about that. And then we'll talk about eminent domain. Oh, it's one of my favorite topics when we get to that one. And then corporate governance. And, that's pretty much it. Now, we come to discussions. Each week you will have a discussion, but I wanted to point out to you the student lounge, which I hope that you guys had a time to take a look at it. it's not graded, and I see somebody has commented. I know at least one person has, and that's me, where it shows up and it will tell you, okay, there's Kayla, and Kayla tells about herself. There's Carly, there's Amy, and then there's me. That tells you a little bit about me. And that fella right there was the one you just saw in the background, Richard Jr. He's 6'2". He's 6'2". He's 6'3". He's younger. He's 21. He's a businessman. This one here, he owns a limo company, and there's a big limo that he has had people in that are. He had a few music people. He had Jennifer Hudson in just recently as one of his clients, and he's had some other people as well that I don't know his whole clientele list. But he's a business person, and he works for other people, but he wants to be an entrepreneur, which is smart. That's my wife Julia. That's my daughter Julia, who doesn't live with me anymore, and she's 22. So they're almost overlapping in age. Julia Alexis and Julian Alexander. The way we separate the Julias is she's Julia Ann. And then there's me, Richard Jr. He's the only one who doesn't start with a J but has a J in his name. And that's Jillian. Jillian is 13 years old. And yes, I'm 71 and I have a 13-year-old daughter. And this is not how she looks now. You saw her with the dog on there. And I tell you a little bit about my family and a little bit what I did. I went to Trinity Evangelical Divinity School because I'm also a pastor. I have a law degree from Northwestern, as I was talking about earlier. I've worked with um, uh, I work the Bible. Well, that's my thing. Listening to gospel music. I deal with some gospel musicians as well. And I speak Spanish. I should poquito. Uh, Anybody know what that means? Uh, and I learn more each day. I enjoy movies. Robert Zemeckis, if anybody don't know that name, he was the director, creator, and writer of Back to the Future, Forrest Gump. He got an Oscar for Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He brought cartooning and a bunch of movies. He was my classmate in high school and sat behind me. And this is my greatest accomplishment. Now, talking about business, this guy here, he just passed away. His name is David Reuter. He was the head of the Securities and Exchange Commission for a while and tried to recruit all of us to go and work with him. But we wanted to go make more money. We went in corporate law firms. And then this is my little mnemonic to help you out. This is my email address. You'll notice that I have two, really. It's really one that's a feeder. This is the original one, but they put a number 2 behind my name. And then this is my personal email. Feel free to use that. This is my phone that you'll be able to call me, text me, and we'll talk about that a little bit. That is right here. Because I work from home and not to the school anymore, this number, if you called it, it would ring on my phone and not ring, but it would leave a message for me. So that's just a little bit about that. So that's the how the lounge works. Now let's go to the calendar. Okay. Here we go. So the course began on Wednesday, and then the lecture is today. And if you clicked on these things, they open up and then they turn into one day. And you'll go down, there's nothing right there. But if you come down to 7, you'll see it. And it tells you what that is. And then this is the link. Of course, you don't need that now because you're here. What else we got here? Let's get this. Get back to the month view. I like the month view. So this shows your first week. This is wrong. This is wrong. Your okay, here's what's wrong. Your assignment. It doesn't have your other. Anyway, both posts. Both posts are due here on Saturday. So this is your reply post. But let me do this. I want to fix that. I'm gonna show you. This is how we fix stuff. I think I can show it. No, it's there. Oh yeah, here we go. Let's click that. Add an event. Day. You can't do this, only I can do this. And then I will save it. That should be tomorrow. And so now when you go to the month view, you'll see the initial post. Then okay, that's what I left off. I thought I had gotten it in on the other days, starting next week. But yeah, so the initial post for this week and the reply post are both due, excuse me, tomorrow. But you will see that when we go into the announcements. And then your written assignment, and then your live classroom lecture. Then, as I said, starting next week, Wednesday, every Wednesday at 7 o'clock, you will have lectures. And your lectures will go to 8 o'clock. So they're an hour. Trust me, they will stick with that. Today's is an hour and a half because I'm going over systems as well. Then I also want you to see, and I show this every week, there's a good reason why. The course ends the 18th, which is a Friday. And that's when all your assignments for week 6 are due that day. And if assignment is submitted on the 19th, it's going to be not graded. If it's anytime after that, it's not going to be graded. So I tell you, I say it every week. This week, I had a student, I just finished, because we just finished term 1, as you know already, that Tuesday. I got students that sent me messages Wednesday and Thursday. Says, oh, I didn't realize the class was ended. I said, every week in lecture, I do this. And I can't do it. I cannot do it unless you had requested an incomplete and followed the proper process. That's the only way. And then I have to grant it, but it has to be given to me early enough so we can talk about it, whether or not I'll give it to you or not, because I'm the one who determined it, not the dean or anybody else. Okay, so that's your calendar. So let's get out of that. But it's you can always find out where your assignments are. Okay. Now let's come down to the announcements. If at any point you want to say anything, just put a comment in the chat, and then I'll slow down and get it. So anyway, here's the first thing. This is informational. It's called Adversity is the Springboard to Success. You'll see that at the bottom of your announcements every week that I post. It's a little story about me. It's about an hour and 3 minutes, and it's a YouTube, which is what your recordings are going to end up being too. I do YouTube because WebEx messes up, and then students can access YouTube on many devices, and it's easy for them to look at the lectures if they look at the recorded lecture. And then this is me, and it's a 1 hour and 3 minutes, and I'll tell a story about the challenges that I went through to get to where I am. So I'm just stopping it, but it's here for you. Take a look at it, share it, but it'll help you to understand a lot about me and about how I feel about what I do and what I had to do to get to what I am today. And I'm ever grateful for it. Tests and trials are a part of my life. It should be every one of us. Then the academic integrity video, we're going to come back to that in a minute. APA assistance. Your writings are going to be APA. Hear me good and hear me well, please. And you'll see it when we get to the rubric and to the, you'll see it when we get to the syllabus. The school is APA. You should know that by now since you've been here. And there's this guide here in class is something to help you. You can click on this and it tells you about the basics, preventing plagiarism and everything. These are things that'll help you. This is where you'll find tools that can really help you. There's a tutorial video that you can click on, just telling you where it is. So you gotta get this APA because the school it's a rule. It's in the syllabus. You'll see it in a minute. The writing process, this is just informational as well to tell you about how review the writing guide, run your papers through Grammarly. Each of you should have a Grammarly account. If you have a Grammarly account that you had before, don't use that one. Use the one with your email address, and it tells you, I'll show you where you'll find how you can actually set your Grammarly account up. But check the box for plagiarism. Run your papers through, because if your papers go over 25% in your written paper, that means you have too much content from your research and not enough critical thinking. And that's what we want, primarily critical thinking. But we also want your critical thinking and statements supported by citations in the body and references at the end. Not references in the paper, but reference on a reference page, a cover page, Roman 12. That's just a little bit about APA, but people lose a lot of points. Oh, students, oh my God, because they don't run their papers through Grammarly, and then they say, but yeah, these are my words. No, no, no. You might have some of your words in there, but you got the idea from somewhere. Then there's the writing lab that you can submit, and then the final draft. The writing lab said I've submitted is not a deferral for not losing points. Okay, and then they have tutors in there as well. Now, before we get to the welcome announcement and that, I want to take a few minutes and go over this academic integrity video. This is Dean Mladic, who is the Dean of a Learning Center. He used to be the Dean at the Romeoville campus, which is where I'm based out of. And I'm going to take off my headset. Now the volume and all of that will probably be down, but you can listen to it on your own. But I want you to at least be on record as having seen it here. There's going to be closed caption in here, so you'll be able to. 4 minutes, so let's get this going here. English. Okay. Okay, get ready. Here it comes.
What is academic integrity? Academic integrity is making decisions in your academic life that are based on honesty, trust, fairness, responsibility, and respect. This means being honest in the work you do, while respecting the work. So what is cheating? Cheating means distributing user information by any means other than expressly or an instrument. Some examples of cheating: asking fellow students for answers or copying answers, devices, materials, that's not approved. Purchasing papers from websites or other sources, copying your classmates' other violations, as noted in the academic integrity policy that can be found in all courses. Always ask your professor if it's okay or to work together with classmates on an assignment. Now let's talk about plagiarism. Plagiarism means using another individual's work without giving them credit, taking another person's work. Some examples of plagiarism are turning in an assignment that someone else wrote, copying words or ideas from someone else, giving the original creator credit, failing to put quoted works in quotation marks, or using someone else's ideas in your essays, but changing a few out like the words are your own. Plagiarism is not just about written words and ideas. It's possible to plagiarize images, graphs, coding, or video as well. So how can you avoid plagiarism? Cite your sources, both in the body of your paper as in-text citations and on your references page. Whenever you want to use words, images, video, or ideas that were created by another person, you should cite that person appropriately as the source of that information.
But how does academic integrity relate to the work world? It's a college thing.
No, integrity in the workplace starts with good practices and skills built while you are a student. Would you turn in a project document to your manager as your own when someone else would? Not if you want to keep your job. Individuals can be reprimanded or even fired from their job for plagiarism. Following academic integrity guidelines while you are in school builds those skills and ethical practices that carry through to the workforce.
Okay, I understand how they're connected, but what do I do if I need more help?
If you have questions on the academic integrity policy, consult your course syllabus, talk with your instructor or dean, and if you need assistance in citation style or how to avoid plagiarism, contact the Rasmussen library team through our live chat or schedule a research appointment on our library website or through the resources tab of your course. If you would like APA tutoring, schedule an appointment with one of our peer tutors on the course resources tab.
Okay. Plug that back in. All right. So 2 points. Number one, important that you use APA because it has to do with integrity, giving credit for sources, and then also making sure that you recognize that it's not or, because too many students mess up. You lose big points, and the rubric will put you in the column. Then it'll use the word credible sources. That's the same as citations and references. References and citations are not to be on the same page. You never put your citations on your reference page, and you never put your references on in the body of your paper. Those are citations. I don't care what you call it. Students get that wrong, but you got to get that right. You got to get that right. It's important. And one of the things that we try to maintain is the transferable skills of this school. And one of them is integrity and ethics. And that's working toward that. But you'll see that in a few minutes as we quickly go through this next thing. This is something that I'm not going to read, but you have had access to it and you should have seen it as one of the earlier announcements. And you need to follow and pay attention to these things. When it says resources tab, as you heard a few minutes ago, that's the way it used to be set, but it's set up a little different, and there's a tab, but I'll show it to you in a few minutes. All right, make sure you follow up on these things. All right. Now this one, don't worry about this down here, because this talks about justice studies. And I thought they had changed that when I put that in there, but this is the one you're going to use, guides, and I'll show you where you can find it. This is the schedule that shows you that we started today at 7, and then it says 7 to 8, but it's really 7 to 8:30. And then this is weeks 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are 7 to 8:30, 8 o'clock rather, beginning next Wednesday, the 16th. All right. So that's your welcome announcement. Your week 1 announcement, each week you'll have an announcement that looks like this. Let's move this again. I always have to move this. Foundations of Business Law. and we'll spend the next half an hour or so talking about that after we finish this, going through the processes here. Business law is your textbook, the essentials, chapters 1 to 3, which I sent you the PowerPoints. And then these are activities that we look at each week, and you'll see these are things that help you to understand the materials so that you can grasp this. Remember, you're in this class not to get an A or B. You're in this class to gain knowledge to become a professional at whatever it is. And since you guys are in business, you want to have tools that are necessary to give you what we call working knowledge. You will get a working knowledge of understanding contracts here. You will not be able to be a contract or be an attorney by taking business law itself. I had a course on contracts in law school that lasted a full semester. Then I had contracts 2. Then I had dealing with what they call the equity. I dealt with that, injunctions. All this stuff is totally in depth. So I won't go into that with you, but I'm just letting you know, don't build your expectations up so that you feel like you're a lawyer afterwards, but you can have a little bit of a working knowledge. Discussion assignment, law and regulations in global economy. And of course, I said that this was due Saturday. I just added that, fixed that on the calendar. And then pay close attention to the rubrics. That is how you can pass or fail this class, the rubrics, because the rubrics actually mirror the module, but it's important. And I tell my students use the rubric as a checklist. And there's written assignments that do every Sunday. And then this tells you when the first lecture, then it tells you here what I said earlier. It lasts an hour and a half. And then this is the link again. And adversity as a springboard to success is based on my little story. I want you to start strong and finish strong. Stay with me. If you feel like you need some help and a tutor, then I'll tell you in a few minutes what you need to do. So that's the announcements. Each week you'll see, all of this will stay up here. It'll add on. So starting next week, you'll see week 2 announcement pop up here. So now let's look at the book and tools. Now remember I was talking about the resource tab. This is what has taken place of that. And here is where you will find information that the things that you see that are not color, you can't access. I can. So let's start with library resources. They already showed you this, but I'm going to show you, that's where you find it right here. And you can find about the online library, the writing guide, click on it, peer educator, another bit about APA. Grammarly, if you want to set up your Grammarly account, you can click on this, and then it will tell you how to set it up. All right. And then, let's see, what I want to show you is, okay, guides. Okay, now guides, each school has a guide. So School of Business is the second one. And if you open it, it tells you, welcome to the School of Business guide. And it helps you with a lot of different topics that you need over here. This is your librarian, who Kate is. I don't know her that well because I primarily work with criminal justice, but she deals with the subjects here: accounting, APA, finance, health, anything that you need here. Supply chain and logistics management. Boy, there's a challenge going on with that right now if you're following the news up near Detroit in Canada with a protest. And then the Learning Center coordinator for you guys is Cassandra, and then she helps you also with some of the same topics. But you can find information here as far as doing research and so forth. Okay, so that's how you get to that. Transferable skills. We've identified that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 transferable skills. And we're going to talk about them in just a few minutes. But this is also where you can find more information on it if you were to click on it. And then it takes you to a little tool where you can listen to the video. And then each one of the topics, if you clicked on it, it opens up what is critical thinking and all of this. This Socrates thing, I'm a natural critical thinker, because when you go to law school, you're taught what they call the Socratic method, which is the father of that is Socrates. And it has to do with their thinking. You become a highly analytical person, which is what you want to do in business. And then this helps you to understand critical thinking, for example. All right. I'm gonna get out of that. So you can find all of that. You can find videos, ebooks, anything that you need, noodle tools, how to set up your cover page and all of that, A to Z databases. So we have all kinds of stuff that's here, but a lot of students don't know that it's there because some professors don't take them through and show them where they are. Well, I do, and I make sure that you're aware of it. And if you forgot, just reach out to me. Don't worry about this. Okay, and then this tutoring over here. I use this as well as you. This is, I think, the one that I use. Yeah, this is my faculty. So if I need to refer you, I can refer you for, if your issue is, notice the big issues that we primarily run into with students for tutoring is APA, plagiarism, Grammarly. Grammarly is real big because people don't follow it. And these are old ones, but it still shows you, this is my faculty dashboard. But you have a way to get to it as well, as I showed you a few minutes ago in the information. This is the syllabus. Okay, I'll spend a few minutes talking about this. This is the document that you need to understand. A lot of people don't. They don't bother with it. Don't do that because there's some important stuff in here. Like, for example, my name, but here's my office hours right here. And it means what it says. You can text me, call me, or email me any hour of the day except the 25th hour of the day. Now, I have it in the order of the best way to do it. You can text me, like, for example, like Muhammad is at work. I think Shannon is at work. You can't talk, so you can text me, but I might try to call you back even if I don't know that. And then a lot of times the student will text me back, but because I like to talk to my students, because that's the way you really connect more. We use this stuff as far as technology to and you know, we want to get people get too impersonal. You know, we don't shake hands, we don't meet each other face to face a lot of times. But the point of the matter is, I feel like I get to know my students very well because I'm a individual who loves people and like helping people. So you can text me, call me. Those are the two best ways if you have an issue or a problem, which you'll see in a few minutes why I'm saying that. Emailing me, I had a student today I was trying to communicate with from the last class, and I told her, I says, call me, we can talk. She says, no, I prefer to do emails. I told her, okay, but you're doing yourself a disservice because you can nip stuff in the bud. You do know, and I know, that there's the context properly to put an email in is generally to have communication, speaking with that person, the author of it, because you could lose a lot of, you can have a lot of misunderstandings that come about. So anyway, the bottom line is just call me or text me or email me any hour of the day. I don't care how late it is, and I'm here. If I don't answer, at least I'll get the message and I'll respond back. They give me 48 hours to respond to messages, but I try not to. The ones that take the longest is email, because especially when you respond to me through course mail, because it's a weird system that when it disappears. It's not like the old system we used to have, and it was better. But some students reach out to me by using my email, personal email, or either they'll use the my college email outside of class. Reminder, this is again, and I say this now because you won't see it in the rubrics, but I'll say it during the lectures. You are required to conduct research for all papers. The sole source of your papers should not be your textbook, and don't rely heavily on it. You'll lose 2 points for failure to conduct research. Same thing with the module. I want you to do research. You got the library and learning resources that are available. All written assignments should be in APA. I said all. So the student inevitably will ask me, is this assignment to be in APA? Yes, by the way, that doesn't apply to discussion posts. I relax it a little bit. Some professors are very dogmatic even in that area. I don't do that because I look at your discussion post as taking the place of talking in class, because we're not in class when you do discussion posts. But if you were in class, you would have discussions and we would dialogue back and forth. But that takes its place. And so I don't require it. But all written assignments, and I showed you each week you have at least one, with citations in the body, and you heard that also in the academic integrity video. You'll hear that all so much, and references at the end. One student told me, I really hate that you keep saying about APA, I already got it. I said, but you got to remember, you're not the only one in class. Trust me, if even one of my students don't get it, and I might not know it, students have told me that it took 10 times before they finally clicked on what to do there. Even with my comments that I put in the rubric, in the grade book, they still didn't quite get it. You'll lose 1 point for not providing a cover sheet. All right. So here's your topic. Here's your textbook with your matching PowerPoints. Let's come down here. Notice down here, there it is. Different academic and professional disciplines use various methods for citing sources. This school uses APA as a standard documentation as style used in how many courses? All courses. And they tell you what it was established by and so forth. So it helps you, and it reminds you again, provides for clear references in the text and at the end. That's bad language. It should be for clear citations in the text and references at the end. But anyway, you know what they're trying to say. Okay. This is what your course consists of: readings, your discussion posts, and your written assignment. But you already know that because I went over that with you. But I bring it to your attention. All right. Look at what it says though about written assignments. Written assignments can take many forms. In some instances, you will perform in-depth research on a particular topic and report back on your findings. In others, you will present a scenario and ask how would you respond given that situation, but you still provide citations and references in it. This is your live classroom session, which you have to attend, or give me the key phrase. Even if you attend, you still give it so you can get your points right away. 3 of you here have a chance to get your points right at the end of this lecture here. And then this is the breakdown of the points that you get for discussions. Notice it's 450 points. 300 are written. You shouldn't be surprised at that because there are no tests. And then 120 discussions, and then you get 30 points. So if you miss that 6%, you could end up with a 94%. And somebody say, oh, that's not bad. Yeah, but here's the thing about live lectures. Live lectures don't only supply points, but even more important than points, live lectures provide information that, oh, but I can read that and I see it. Wrong answer, because I personally love to hear elaboration on the material that's in there. Yes, I like to go over it, but then I like to have some elaboration from, and that's what my job is. That's what it tells you that I do. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you this. I'm a AB professor. I'm not a C and lower professor. What I mean is I don't lower the standards for anybody because I don't want you to get into that habit. I want you to be successful. I've never been turned down for a job, but I've turned down jobs. Why? Because I was an AB student. I was a C student for a little bit, but that was long time ago. Long time ago. I mean, I'm talking about when I was in school even. But I couldn't get in Northwestern if I had stayed a C student in college. I wouldn't be able to get in too many law schools. But the point of the matter is that um, you want to be at the top because there's an indication connection to getting A's and B's to learning to be a better professional in business, in this case here, learning the courses so that you understand the purpose for them and how they fit into the whole puzzle of being a successful business person. So if you call me and ask me how do you get a C in your class, I really just want to pass. I'm not going to answer you. Sorry, I don't do that. I don't ignore you, but you have to try to stay in here. Guess what? I'll help you. I'm willing to help you 24 hours a day. But the point of the matter is that you got to also want to do it too. Okay. All right. So this is my participation stuff. And see, it says respond to messages within 48 hours. The student says, "Dag, that's 2 days." I said, "Yeah, I know. I usually don't." But a student sent me a message yesterday, no, day before yesterday, and I responded to it today. She says, "I was expecting an answer within 24 hours." I says, "Well, sorry, dear, but I was trying to finish final grades." But she says, "That's too long." And I said, "It's 48, but it wasn't quite 48. Anyway, the point is, I was just saying that. You have accommodations here. If you need them, you deal with that with your dean. Okay. Transferable skills. Now, as I was talking earlier about them, I'm going to go over these pretty fast because you can go back and you can look at where I showed you. Some of these are for interpersonal communication, and then some of it is intrapersonal. Okay. So communication is interpersonal because you're communicating with other individuals. You need to be able to communicate very well in written and oral communication because you're going to write reports, you're going to write contracts and things of that nature. And one thing off, word, can throw it off. So they want you to be proficient in that. Critical thinking, I talked about that a few minutes ago, and that's another interpersonal one. Digital fluency is an intrapersonal because that's for you to learn. Everything's digital now. When I came out of law school in 1978, we didn't have any of that. But I have learned to adapt to the change in the world. And everything now is digital, including your textbooks. You got these things here. We didn't have those things. The first cell phones I had looked like, if you go back and see, what's the name of that close with Agent 99? It was a TV show. Get Smart. You see the big phone. You know, you can hit somebody over the head as a weapon, but small phones got smaller and compact and better. But digital fluency, you learn how to use systems like Word documents, PDF. You really want to be good with Word because that's how your assignments are, all written in Word document, unless it calls for a PowerPoint. Sometimes they do. Don't remember if we have any in this class, but you will see when we get to it. Excel spreadsheets. Oh, you're going to learn that in math and you'll learn that in business as well. Diversity. You guys are from various beliefs, various backgrounds, various cultures, various races, various sexes. You have LGBT, you have transgender, you have people. But one thing that we must tell you You need to respect and appreciate each other. Our country is a melting pot. The only people that were in this country originally were the Native Americans, incorrectly referred to as Indians many years ago, because Columbus thought this was India where he landed, but it was not. And so it's Native Americans. And you noticed how it is today. Anything referring to Indians, like the Cleveland um, baseball team used to be called the Indians. Now I think they're the Commanders, or there's another one. I think Washington football are the Commanders, but uh, oh no, the Guardians. They're the Guardians. Yeah, the Cleveland Indians formerly. But the point of the matter is we respect each other. We don't put people down. We're in a world right now where I'm really fearful, and it gives me a lot of work as a pastor, because it's terrible the way people are racist, sexist, um, misogynist. Oh, it's terrible, people. And so we teach you to appreciate diversity. In fact, the school has what we call Diversity and Inclusion Council. All right, and I'm part of that. Teamwork, you're working on teams. How do you work on teams in this course? With your discussion posts, because you're commenting to each other's discussion posts. Ethics, we've been talking about that already. It's very important, along with professional responsibility. Uh, you're going to be an accountant, you're going to have a code of conduct. If you're going to be an attorney, you have a code of conduct. You're going to be anything, you're going to have a code of conduct and responsibility. You'll probably also have a manual in your employer that you have to follow. Information literacy, being able to use sources that are credible. There's a source that we never want you to use. Has anybody told you a source that they never want you to use for research in terms of your written academic assignments? Anybody told you? There we go, Jenna. Thank you. That's it. Wikipedia, because it's a word based. Anybody can change it. You don't use it. Somebody says, oh, but it has a lot of good information. Don't rely on it. And if you cite it, you're going to get dinged big time for that. Okay. Um, so, I mean, because when you're working in the professional field, if you're working for me in the professional field, you're not going to do that, because I'll tell you, no. How do you know that's correct? Anyway, you'll have the opportunity to demonstrate each of these outcomes in courses, including this one. Attendance policy, I will skip over that. The last thing I really want to talk about, and we've gotten a little longer here, but I want to talk about the late assignment policy. Listen to me, please get this. You have up to 7 days, and each day, and the student will try to correct me on that today, and she wanted to submit an assignment that was 30 days past due for some credit. I said, if you do the 7-day rule, you lose it. She said, oh, but what if it's submitted one day after? I said, I'm glad you asked, because if you have 100 on Sunday when it's due, you submit that same paper on Monday, it's reduced by 10. Tuesday is reduced by 10. Wednesday is reduced by 10. So that by the time you get to the 4th day, you're heading DF. So you don't rely on that. Okay. Online, and don't worry about, don't get caught in this second sentence. In some cases, such as late discussion postings, you may be asked to complete an alternate assignment. I won't do that. I don't have time to do that. I have too many students. It would give me grading, and the grade book will not come out very well because it requires completing these assignments. I don't even know why they even put that in there. Online discussions conclude at the end of the week. So guess what? Your online discussion for week 1 is concluded by Sunday, because actually that's when your assignments for discussion posts are due. You'll discover after this week, every Tuesday initial post and every Saturday reply post, with the exception of week 6, which is a Friday, but you saw that already. That means that if your discussion posts are late, you will lose a point for each day. I don't go anything beyond that. If you supply a post that is not content oriented, demonstrating critical skills in there, analysis, you won't get points for that either. Now, the other thing is this, and you need to hear this. If your posts are submitted by Saturday, your initial post, and then you submit a reply post Sunday, Professor Wright, you just said the course, that week discussion is over. Yeah, but I give you a mulligan. Those of you who play golf know what that's all about. I ignore that and go instead, I give you points for submitting it Sunday. But that's only if you submitted your initial post before Sunday. But you will lose a point. So you get that. Students a lot of times will be submitting. So let me tell you something. Just remember, tomorrow all discussion posts are due. If you submit them Sunday, I can't. They say, yeah, but it was a short week. I says, that's why we shifted the discussion post to Saturday for both. The point of the matter is that you got to get that done. You got to get it done on time. Okay. If you submitted after that, 2 really good posts on Sunday and none before that, zeros. And if you submit one after the course is ended, as a student found out, she said a 0. Now, I did give a student a break on a discussion, no, a written assignment that was submitted. It was 2 seconds after midnight. I said, okay, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt there. And I just did that. Nobody has come back and said anything to me about it. But if it's beyond that time, then I can't do anything for you. All right. In no circumstances may a student submit work after the last academic term unless an incomplete has been requested. I'm not going to go over that with you, but you have to do that. A student told me, well, I didn't know about that. I said, it's in the syllabus. Oh, well, I don't really pay that much attention to the syllabus. Bad move. There's some information right in here that I will not take time to go over. Okay? And it tells you steps to take. I'm very flexible with it. Oh, by the way, let me back up a little bit because I skipped over something too fast. And instructors may waive the late penalty in case of extenuating circumstances as determined by me. That's why I said earlier, if you email me or if you text me or call me, I get it right away. And then I'm aware. So when you submit it, then what I'll tell you usually is when you submit your assignment, put a note attached to your assignment, letting me know why it was late. Because when I'm in the grade book, I'm not going to remember that. So you want to do that. But talk to me or reach out to me first and let me know what's going on, what the issue is. And I'll determine, and by the way, working extra hours is not extenuating circumstances unless you are in a capacity like a nurse or a doctor. Well, not doctor, but you know, there are students who work as medical assistants, and then in criminal justice, I have a whole bunch of them that have to. And also, by the way, if you are assigned to military duty, I work with you on that too. I never punish anybody for assignments, but don't lie to me. I'm not going to ask you for your orders. I don't want to note. This is not grammar school or high school. This is college. You're adults, okay? And it'll catch up with you. I always say a unethical student is an unethical professional and bad things happen to you. And then there's the academic integrity policy, which they referred to earlier, the dean did, and you can read through that yourself. All right, so now that covers everything that I want to go to, and in a period of time, I might go a few minutes over because I want to make sure that, well, that's not a whole lot here because you have your discussion assignment. regulation, in a global economy. And so remember, we're not just working with the United States, we're working all over the world. There's international business. I got a brother-in-law young guy, he's got a master's in dealing international business. So as a global economy expands, the need for knowledge, awareness, enforcement of business laws grows. Jurisdictional differences, and now we have technology, and so it allows us to do international opportunities. So you're going to read this article right here, and then you're going to answer these 2 points. All right, and then you're going to respond to another students, and I got some people already who have done, and I've replied to at least one. I usually reply to 1 or 2. Incidentally, I forgot to tell you this, but you may have discovered it. If you do not submit an initial post first, you cannot see anything as far as other individuals. It's what we call post first. Discussion is hidden until you post a response. And that's when a response is not your reply. Okay? And you know that when these are due tomorrow. So your written assignment, you have a scenario here. Remember we talked about that there would be scenarios. So guess what? Remember what I told you earlier? Unless it says, this one is a PowerPoint. I remember now that this is a PowerPoint. So what you're going to do is, one of the things that students mess up with this is they don't include speaker notes at the bottom of the panel. But you need to have that in there because you're going to lose points for that. You know why? That's the speaker notes is also where you have your citations about the topics. And then you'll have a reference slide as the last slide, just like the other. You're going to have a title slide. Now this one, I don't require a cover page, but I do require a title slide. And then you're going to have, and you follow the instructions. Just follow it down the road. For assistance for APA, you already know, we already talked about that. All right, so you got to create PowerPoints for this one, and save it. Now, here's the rubric. Here's where people mess up. I want to teach you right now that I don't pay attention to this. I don't pay attention to this. I don't pay attention to this. I pay attention to this. They got different titles for. They got mastery, advanced, but the point of the matter is the highest one. That's the one that I pay attention to, and I want you to notice. Use this as a checklist. So in your introduction, thorough introduction. Did you hear what I said? Thorough introduction. Now, if your definition of a thorough introduction is just a few words, then you're not really going to be doing that. You're going to have limited introduction, and you're going to get half the points there. Thorough introduction. Sources of law. Be sure that you have the sources of law that apply to what you're writing about, and cite those sources correctly. Remember I told you, notice this. Laws for doing business are thoroughly defined with accuracy. Then you provide what safeguards are. So what are safeguards? Well, safeguards are what do you do to provide safeguards? You have accountants, you have your attorneys, you have your marketing people. Exemplary safeguards to ensure legal and procedural compliance are consistently satisfied. Explain that with accuracy. And then you're formatting, no grammar or spelling errors, and in-text citations and references in the proper APA format. So now you got it. Now, if you don't have it, you're going to end up unprofessional slides, limited or inaccurate legal procedures, Sources of law incomplete, you're going to end up over here. So students ask me, how come I got a 55? Because you didn't have citations. As soon as you don't have citations in the body, which in this case would be with the notes, you got to have those notes down there. Don't just throw me a one-liner. Elaborate on it. Because remember what the PowerPoints are for, providing the person detailed information about the topic that you're lecturing or teaching on. That's the purpose of the PowerPoint. All right. Any questions? And by the way, I put comments in each one. Any questions? You can type yes or no in the chat box, or say nothing. If you say nothing, then I'll presume that's it. Okay. Now, okay. I don't see any questions. So now let's go down to the topic. So we got the live classroom lecture, which you already know. That's where you're going to put what I'm going to give you as the key phrase to get your points in the Dropbox. And you have an advantage, those of you tonight. And then your recordings, you'll find here after this is over that I will replace this with the link to where you can find it recorded, and then I will email it to you as well. So I don't have a lot of time, but give me about 10 minutes more, and then we can wrap up, because I want to make sure that you at least get an understanding about some of this stuff. I'll just highlight the points. So you should be aware that, first of all, in business law, you're dealing with usually contracts. You're not generally dealing with people going to jail. It's about money. And you're going to have a recognition that business law is there to protect both the person who's in business as well as the consumer. There are various regulations and laws on the federal, state, and local level. And there may be some criminal issues, but that is something that we'll talk about further down the road. But primarily is where individuals or private parties are suing each other, but it's for money or injunctive relief. Criminal law, on the other hand, is when someone is seeking to lock somebody up. Administrative, you'll deal with administrative agencies. Remember, I talked about the SEC earlier, my dean, dealing with the Securities Exchange Commission, the FTC. You'll deal with all kinds of government entities depending on the type of business that you're operating in. Sources of law consist primarily of the Constitution of the United States, which all business laws, all laws are under. And then you have statutes in the states, and then you have what we call case law. And the judges decide that, because our system is set up so that you have the executive branch, which consists of the governor, the president, the mayors, and people like that. Then you have the legislative, which is the House and the Senate on each level, federal as well as each state. And then you have the judiciary, and the highest court of the land is the United States Supreme Court. And then states have their appellate courts, Supreme Courts, and then they have the Court of Original Jurisdiction, trial courts. Okay, so that's kind of a thumbnail of that. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. There are regulations that control business, and these regulations involve things like the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. That's one of the agencies that deal with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of '64. That says you cannot discriminate against individuals on the basis of race, religion, sexual origin. There's age discrimination laws. There's disability laws that we deal with. And then someone was talking about OSHA. OSHA is involved there as well. There we are down here. and you can click on these to learn more about it. I think they fixed the links. Let me see if they're working now. Yep, thank you. They finally did it, because before they weren't working right. But we put in some requests. So you can look at that and learn about that. And you do the same thing with all of these. The Civil Rights Act of 64, and it explains it and gives definitions and stuff like that. Age discrimination, the ADEA, which is an act that it doesn't affect you if you're under 40. But if you're 40 or older, and I'm way over that, it deals with me, harassment, and all the things in employment. And then disability, we have the ADA, the Aid to Americans with Disabilities Act. And you learn about that as well, why there are certain accommodations granted in facilities. This one they've been working on changing. The Fair Labor Standards Act is constantly ever changing, and you deal with all the provisions in there as well when you're operating in business. So those are just some of the regulations. The court system, we can go through that pretty fast because I kind of touched on it. The court system is dealing with a civil trial. You'll deal with look at what it says here, and this is really true in criminal cases too. Many civil cases never see the inside of a courtroom due to the amount of time it takes to get there. According to the Florida Bar, less than 2%, listen to this, of civil cases that are filed have their day in court. Many settle because it's expensive. When I worked for the big law firm, and we were involved in lawsuits, and I mean we would be involved with discovery, where we have depositions, we have interrogatories, which is the written questions that are given to individuals. We have a whole lot of preliminary stuff, and then discovery, it takes a long time because you're passing information. So anyway, the point of the matter is this: it takes a lot of time because lawyers, mucho dinero, okay, costs a lot. And I did pretty good with that. But I liked criminal law, but I was real good at that as well, because there's a different standard when you're dealing with civil law. You should know it's beyond a reasonable doubt in criminal cases, but preponderance of the evidence is which means 51% is all it takes to prove that you win. That's why using a reference for you guys, O.J. Simpson was found not guilty by the jury, but he was found guilty in the civil trial, and ran into some financial issues because of that. And civil trials, as I said, are about money or injunctive relief. But the discovery process takes a lot of time. Lawyers, billable hours are expensive. If you have accountants involved in it, it gets even more expensive. And so the point of the matter is that course cases are not adjudicated with trials, but usually people reach settlements in most cases. The system would break down too, by the way, as well. Okay, so this is just a little activity for yourself. We're done there. And here we go. And it just explains the court system. Less than 3% of the cases make it to trial. We already told you it's roughly 2. And then you go through and we talk about pleadings, discovery, trial, post-trial, appeal. Go through that and you look at that. And then there are pleadings. They're showing you what pleadings are like. And then you go back. Okay. So anyway, that's the court system. But remember, it's it's not a big deal because you don't use most. This is flashcards. This is a little exercise for you where you can study just for yourself and information, self-assessment. So you click on start, And you ask, what is a tort? And you'll find that in your answer. Click on the card to see the other side. Civil wrong, excluding breach of contract, such as an accident. Those are usually torts. And you'll see more information in your PowerPoints when you look at it. Okay, so then you can drag the card to the left, and then I think the next one. Okay, but anyway, you can go over that and study that yourself. So that's it for today. Any questions? Any questions? Yeah, test or quiz is right. Live classroom. We do have a live classroom though. Thank you. By the way, someone responded privately. Try to put it in so everybody can see it. Okay. Wikipedia, yes. Any questions before we say goodnight? You don't have any questions? Somebody should ask the question. What is it? How about you don't know yet? You'll learn it. The key phrase or word. Any suggestions? I already know what I'm gonna give it, what I've already got to give, and I'll give it in just a minute. I won't type it in the chat box because people won't see that. They'll have to hear it said. Come out of privately there. Nope, that's not it. What have we been dealing with? Usually you'll discover pretty easy. Well, that was just one thing we went over. What's the overall arching? This is really right under your nose. I've talked about it so many times tonight. Okay, I'll let you go because you'll be here all night. Business law. That's it. Isn't that what we talked about tonight? As soon as I say it, a student hangs up. That's too funny. They say, oh, I got the keyword, I'm gone. I don't have to hear anything else. Well, that's okay with me. But give me business law and you get your points. Don't get into the habit of just waiting for the key phrase, by the way, because sometimes there are things that come after giving that. So get your points in. I'll see you guys on Wednesday at 7:00 p.m. Central Standard. Enjoy your weekend. Those of you who are in sports, go Rams. I've been hearing a lot of people think the Bengals are going to win, but I'm a Bear fan, but I got the Rams. I had Kansas City, but that's a whole nother discussion that the Bengals took care of that. So I'll see you next week. Stay safe, stay warm, except if you're down in Florida, watch those Gators. All right. See ya. Good night.